And so, good evening, viewers. We welcome to a very exciting episode of the Men's Lounge. As always, we bring you the best topics for discussion. Last week, we spoke about dealing with an over-ambitious woman in a relationship, in friendship, whichever way you put it, but dealing with an over-ambitious woman. I mean, there was a lot that we're discussing there. Anyway, this week we'll be bringing you another exciting one just as we are here, and please make sure you join us every Thursday at 9 p.m. where we bring you the Men's Lounge. Thanks to Casa Prequa Lomo Beaters, this show is brought to you live from the studios of ETV Ghana. So I'm going to possibly take my first break, and then when I'm back, I'll tell you who I have in here, and then we delve straight with the topics. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's ETV Ghana, and we are in the Men's Lounge. Please note, definitely, as far as it's Thursday and it's already 9 p.m., you turn on your televisions and we are here. It's an appointment viewing. We always appreciate the fact that you join us and be part of this show. Now, if you want to be part as well without being here to speak, feel free and join us on our social media platforms. That is at ETV Ghana. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whichever. It's just at ETV Ghana. Also, if you want to be part of this by text or by WhatsApp, you can join us on 020-2222-054. I repeat, 020-2222-054. The English people say quadruple two, so quadruple 2054. Please note that and send us your messages. We will do justice to your messages. And so, this week, we are discussing the issue of in-laws. And so, dealing with in-laws when it comes to marriage, relationships, and of course, you can only talk about in-laws when marriage comes in. If you are doing the boyfriend and the girlfriend stuff, you can't really, talk about in-laws. And I have very, very, beautiful, handsome. I like using the word beautiful for men. I have my own reasons. I'll explain one of these days. But it's something I actually heard, some time ago, somewhere. When a man was being called beautiful, I thought it was wrong, and I checked, and it was actually right. Anyway, so today I have in my studio two gentlemen. I'm going to allow them to do their introductions. I know them by their first names, which is beautiful, but I'll have them introduce themselves, and then we can start. So, gentlemen, good to see you.
Good to see you too, my brother.
So I'm going to start with you. You go and introduce yourself, your name, and anything you think we should know. What you think we should know.
All right. My name is Divine Williams, and I am a pastor and a relationship counselor.
All right, so Divine Williams is a pastor and a relationship counselor. He loves to be called Divine.
That's fine.
Because he's a pastor. You never know. Jabon.
Commander. My name is Joseph Kofi Okon Obrimpong.
Okon Obrimpong.
Yeah, I'm a mechanical engineer by profession, and I'm also the MD of Matrix Equipment and Consultancy Services.
Okay, so Okon Obrimpong, Joseph.
Yes.
He's a mechanical engineer. An MD, when the MDs are talking, So now today we have a pastor and an MD. On that note, my name is Nanaya Odame. I'm also find some work for me.
Special host.
All right. Okay. So as I did mention earlier, we're discussing in-laws. I mean the issue of in-laws in our marriage situations. I'm very sure that everybody knows who an in-law is. Absolutely. But sometimes it's just right that we try to, let's pretend we don't know. I'll pretend I don't know who an in-law is. And I'll ask Pastor to tell us who an in-law is.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, an in-law is somebody that, or the parents of your spouse or your partner.
The parents
especially
of your spouse.
If you are married. That the parents, or let me say the family, the father, the mother, and the siblings of your wife, they are your in-laws. Yeah.
Okay. So if that is the case, we are going to speak from the perspective of men. Okay. Because obviously, it is a men's program and we are here. And so the issue then would be handling the in-laws. Okay. So how we handle the in-laws. What is the husband's perspective? Okay. That is what we are going to discuss today. And so I'm going to start from you, Joseph.
All right. I'll look at it, but before I go on, I'll define the in-laws, not the Oxford Dictionary way of defining things. We are in Ghana and we have to look at it from
Of course.
From African perspective.
That's right.
So I would define an in-law, that is I'm adding African perspective to that of my colleague here.
Yeah, divine.
To be divine, to be a community.
Wow.
Because in Africa, we are so interrelated. And in Africa, we don't look at the core family. That is the man, the woman, and then the siblings, and so on and so on. But we look at extensively. Our marriage in Africa is a big one. When we marry, we don't marry only the woman.
You marry the
but
whole
we
family.
marry the whole family. And even sometimes people that you don't even expect that they will be family members,
Will appear.
we end up marrying them. Because in the community, when you marry and then you are in the community, everybody is going to call you Akonta.
Okay.
So even not the woman that you are married to, the father who is calling you the Akonta, but the whole village or the whole community is calling you Akonta. So it means that in Ghana or in Africa, when we say an in-law is like a community.
So an in-law is like a community.
It's a community.
Obviously, the reason why once I feel I'm your brother,
Yes.
or once I feel I'm your sister, or
Yes.
whichever way,
Yes.
You're married, or let's say your relation in terms of your wife or your husband. I can say, oh, Makuntenye, this is my in-law.
Yes.
As far as I consider myself as
Yes.
a brother or a sibling
Yes.
to
Yes.
you.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes.
So I'll take a quote. I'll take a quote. So this quote says, dealing with in-laws can provide can prove to be very tricky for both men and women. However, sharing a good relationship with your in-laws is vital. For one, if you live with them, you will be spending a lot of time with them. Secondly, they will be instrumental in instilling values in your children. Last but not the least, excessively involved or detached in-laws can put pressure on marriage. And this is where I'm going to ask you. There are perspectives brought here about how they can be of good influence to your children, to your marriage, to your family. How does this happen, Pastor?
Anyway, first of all, before I even tackle that, we have to look at something. You know, we have to come to the realization as husbands. We are talking from the husband's perspective.
Of course, the
right?
husband's perspective.
We have to come to the realization that our wife's parents or family are very crucial parts of our wife's lives. And so for that matter, indirectly, they are very crucial to us. And so the way we handle our parents, our own parents, that's the way we are supposed to handle our in-laws. Now, coming back to the question you asked about how they, as it were, help in our marriage, if you like. For me, I think that it is very tricky, like you said earlier. And so I will not encourage too much interference, no matter the values and the experience and wisdom and all that they have. We need them, but we have to be very careful. Because it can get to the point where they feel like the way you are doing this is not right. Do it this way because of their experience.
They
You
think
get
they've
it?
been there before.
They think they've been there before. And so they want to control you, even the way you handle your kids. In as much as we need their help and support, it is very important for us to limit their interference in our marriage and that of our children.
So in as much as we need them around, it is also okay to try and limit them. But you
Absolutely.
See, doesn't it bring issues when you try to, well, perhaps I'm sure you'll be telling me, oh, it depends on how you go about it. But won't it be a bit of a problem when they also begin to realize that, Charlie, these people are trying to drift themselves away from us in a way. I mean, they're making us feel like we don't really need them. How would the in-laws begin to feel?
I'll first look at it from this perspective. If you look at marriages or divorce all over the world, there are certain factors. And some of these, the major factors that I want to talk about. We have money, financial, can cause a marriage to break down. Secondly, we can also have like poor relating to infidelity can also cause. And one of them is the topic that we are discussing today,
Right.
and that is in-laws. So when you look at marriage critically, in-laws, they play a very, very, very important role in marriage. Because once it's one of the factors that can cause a marriage to break down, then it means that as a man, you have to handle that particular factor very, very carefully. Because you can have money, all right. There's no issue with sex and all those things in the relationship. But if that particular factor, which is the in-laws, are not, or it's not handled very well, it can cause the marriage to break down. So looking at it from my point of view, what I would say is that in-laws are very, very, very important.
Absolutely.
Very, very, very important, because I've experienced it and I've come to realize that if you are in a relationship, not just boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, not that we are not talking about.
But that one you don't even have.
We don't have any.
You don't have any law.
Because you'll be dodging when you see the mother. You'll be dodging when you see the father. You just go and you pass by the man, go and park your car somewhere, come and do your slaying things,
Quick
do
one,
something, and one time for your money, you're out of the place. That's not what we are talking
Yeah.
about. But when you are married,
Yeah.
the family that you are marrying from is very, very important. Your in-laws, and you have to be very, very careful handling it, because it can cause the marriage to break down. So I would not say that in-laws it's not important, or they are not important.
They are important.
Very, 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 very important. So if you're a man and you are getting married to a family, what I would say here is that you need what we call wisdom.
That's right.
You need marriage. Once it's a factor and can bring, you need serious wisdom. Because you cannot throw your in-laws away. I will not advise anybody, no matter how difficult they are, you should be able to have the wisdom. You should be able to have that emotional intelligence to handle them. That is people's management. So if you know that one, then it will help you. I know we have some in-laws that they're extremely difficult. Sometimes you see them and you yourself, you are intimidated. You see that you have money, but when you see the father or when you see the mother, you are intimidated. But it calls for wisdom for you to manage those people.
To be able to deal
Because
with
if you are not careful, that one alone can create a lot of problems. Whether they are going to help you raise your case or not, you need a lot of wisdom.
a lot of wisdom. And so, of course, it is very important, as you're saying, but again, it also calls for some sort of management, or let's say limitation, that you have to be also careful in trying to
do it.
establish
Yes,
that.
yes.
You know, traditionally, it is seen as women have to always deal with these issues of mother-in-laws, probably because men are not whiners, and you know the women are seen to be. And so it's beginning to look like they always have to deal with some of these issues. But you know what, men, it's, like I said, just because perhaps we think men are not whiners, but truth be told, I think men are also suffering from the silence, over meddling in-laws, in-laws who are meddling their affairs, and men don't talk much. It's the women who are seen to be all talky about it. But see, one of the things I'd like to know is, so do men as husbands, do we really have in-law problems? Sometimes we tend to ignore, but I want to know whether we really have. Is it something that husbands, Charlie, it's a problem, but as we are not able to speak? Do we really have in-law problems?
We do.
We do?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
There are issues.
Yeah,
There are
there are a lot of
issues.
issues.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of issues.
I want the typical one, a typical
Like we were
issue.
saying, men are more silent. They will not talk like the women, but there are issues.
What are some of the issues?
Well, you have a business
Mm-hmm.
you are doing, probably with your wife, and so the father knows about this.
Okay.
The father is or he's also had businesses before, and he thinks that you should handle the business in a way, like in his way. Now, like he was saying, you need a lot of divine wisdom to handle in-laws. Now, you cannot throw his advice away if he's giving you an advice, but you know what you are doing. Now, in as much as we need their help, very important, I will keep insisting that we are careful about how we allow them to interfere into whatever we are doing. Because you see, their time is their time. This is our time.
Of course.
I need your wisdom and your experience. but can you allow me to live in my time? For example, there are in-laws. I mean, the social media age, they were not there. It is new to them.
Things are moving faster than
Things
that
are moving
time.
very faster than that time. They are not privy to some of the things that are happening now.
True.
In our days.
Yeah.
And so you want to do certain something because of your new environment, but they may not understand how you're going to handle that. You get my point?
Some of
And
them
they
are-
try to insist.
But you know, some of them are young at heart too, and they feel they know everything.
Yes, exactly. That's where the problem is at times. They feel they know everything, and they try to impose what they know on you. So like he's saying, you have to use divine wisdom to handle that. Otherwise, it will look as though you are disobeying your father.
But what
Now, there are two ways
Uh-huh.
that they come into your life. I'm talking about the interference.
Okay.
One, because they care about their daughter. Because in as much as you are the fact that you are married does not mean that you are no more part of that family. You are still part of the family. That's how they see it. You are still their child. They still see you as their baby. They still
course.
care about their baby. So obviously they want to come in, but there must be a limitation to it. Otherwise, to affect your marriage. And so, like he said, the wisdom is very, 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 very key. So they come, one, because they care about their, how do you call it, child. Number two, they come because they feel like they know. They know everything. Oh, you are doing, oh, you are a small boy, you can't do it well. Listen to me and that kind of thing. So it depends on you now to see how are they coming. Are they coming because they really care about their daughter, or they are coming because they want to impose whatever they know on
But
me?
you see, so there could be a situation where you have some of daughters usually are very close to their fathers.
Yes.
And in a typical scenario, a situation like what you are describing right now, and then the man pops in and tries to offer some advice on the business you and the daughter. I see the interest here is the fact that you and the daughter are doing the business, and so he feels that, and the daughter listens to him. I mean, look, you know, the girls are always closer to their dads. We all know this, and so then in the marriage, you realize that the daughter, in a very subtle way, is beginning to listen to the father.
Yeah.
Then, between the two of you, that you are doing the business together, the husband's issues are not like the husband doesn't have a say,
Yes.
and that is where the issues probably will start.
Absolutely. So I think that most of the time, there must be communication. There must be some level of understanding, cooperation, agreement between you and your wife, so that it will not get to the point where the father's voice silences your voice as the husband. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
When the foundation is destroyed there, then there will be issues. That is where it will get to the point where the lady feels like, I think my father has given me fantastic ideas, because there has not been any time where you sat down together, planned this thing. You're not bringing up any ideas. There's no creativity, innovations about what you are doing. And so if the father is doing that thing more, obviously she will want to be listening to the father more than yourself.
I think one of the things that could even be a problem is if the father offers a certain advice or a certain idea, and you be like, no, and then it doesn't end well.
Exactly.
And then it happens that the father's idea could have worked.
That's right.
And I'm sure definitely that is one of the points that is also going to be a big issue in that marriage.
Yes.
Sure.
So as Pastor was saying, men do suffer a lot.
I want to hear more of the main issues.
Let me tell you, my brother. Men do suffer a lot when it comes to in-laws. But you know, men are such that we don't complain to men. If it is a woman, the woman will go
not
out
be happy
and
to hear
talk, go and call his friends,
Joseph,
friends.
I'm drawing your attention to something. The women will not be here happy to hear.
No,
we saying they talk too much?
No, they talk. That's natural.
We have to be realistic. They talk.
Also, they talk.
Anybody can take me on.
Well,
Women talk.
I hope they do.
They can take me on.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll call it your station and say that, where is that gentleman who said women talk a lot?
They talk too much.
They talk.
But what is men suffer a lot when it comes to in-laws. But they decide not to talk because that is how we are. And it's sometimes painful because if the man has an ego, right?
That's right.
it can break the marriage down.
That's right.
Because I've heard of a story that there was this gentleman who finished university, got married to a rich man's daughter. The guy from my professional area, that is he's an engineer.
Okay.
The father too is an engineer.
Hey.
You know. And anytime this man will meet his professional mate, the man will start downplaying the gentleman's ability to think, looking down upon it, because the guy was not coming from a rich home. And this man is so rich that anytime this gentleman will go and visit the daughter, the man will start talking to the gentleman, who are you? If you been muna mumufi, who's your father? Who is this? The gentleman is a very sharp guy. So it got to a point the guy couldn't take it again. The guy couldn't take it because the guy realized that your father is an engineer. I'm also an engineer. At least even if I'm your son, is that how you are going to talk to
Relate,
me?
yeah.
So he started breaking the guy down emotionally. At the end of the day, the guy couldn't go on with the relationship.
You see.
And as I speak to you, my friend didn't marry again. The woman didn't marry again.
Wow.
They still date.
And I mean, the man, they are both not married.
They are not married.
None of them is married to
No,
even somebody else.
No, because the guy couldn't contain the embarrassment.
Wow.
So it got to a point that we met somewhere, boys, and Charlie, the way the man they handle me, I know fit.
But man, why do we sometimes become our own enemies? Fine gentleman want to marry your daughter too.
And
Why?
so the men do suffer a lot, and sometimes
Absolutely.
even the from the woman's point of view, the lady's mother can also be extremely rough.
Yeah.
They move into your house. They said, "Oh, their daughter has given birth, so they are coming to help," thinking that within just a week or two, they will move out. Then they stay there. You tell your wife to go, and then tell the mom that, "Oh, this is our private home, so you've come to help us for maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. We can now handle the situation." Then it turns into a different issue altogether. Oh, person mo pamu mi fifi ha. You don't like
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
and it's a whole lot of things. But the man, you can't talk. You can't talk. So it's a difficult issue when it comes to in-laws, handling of in-laws for men. It's a lot of marriages have gone down the drain because of in-laws. But we the men, we try to handle it in such a way that we will not be too emotional about it. But men suffer a lot.
Well, so men suffer a lot when it comes to these in-laws issues. The only issue is that we don't talk much. And, well, I didn't say it. But Joseph, please note, Joseph says the women talk. You talk too much. And so on this note, I'm going to go for my next break. When I'm back, we'll continue. Please stay tuned. So as we always do, we try to propel the young men to grow up to become very responsible men in the future. And so you should be looking at your net worth rather than the monthly salary. Paycheck, that's what it means. And so welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's the Men's Lounge at ETV Ghana. And we are talking about the in-laws in a relationship, especially marriage. If it is not marriage, you don't have an in-law. Boyfriend, girlfriend, your girlfriend's father is not your in-law yet. When you marry, you can say comfortably say that you have joined the in-law class.
That's right.
Part of
That's right.
The in-laws.
That's right.
So talking about in-laws, one of the things I'd like to know, are there specific roles that is expected, that in-laws play when it comes to marriage?
Yeah.
Specifically, what are their roles, really? I mean, you are in-law here, so what? Stay in your house, or there are some particular roles they play as parents to our wives?
No, they have certain roles that they need to play in every relationship. And as a Christian, I would say that one of the major things that they have to do is pray for them. That is one thing that in-laws are supposed to do for the couples that they've all moved from different angles because marriage is a long road. So that is one road, and parents or in-laws who pray a lot help the marriage of their daughters and sons to be more stable. Because marriage is not just by an individual creation, it's God's creation. And if God is, that's why when we are marrying, we go to, even when whatever we do in terms of marriage, we go and pray. We are praying to the Almighty God, definitely.
Yeah.
So that is what each family, and when we pray, we are communicating with God. So if one of the, as I said, one of the major things that each in-law or any in-law is supposed to do for the couple is to pray for them. Basically, is to pray. And the second one that they are also supposed to do is to limit themselves from interference, meddling into the marriage that the daughter is in or the man is in. Because as I said, if the meddling becomes too much, it makes the woman, especially the woman, start feeling very, very uncomfortable. It makes the whole marriage very, very unstable. So the meddling aspect of the marriage, of the in-laws, should be reduced as much as possible. So I will look at it from these two perspectives.
Well, if you ask me, let me enter my cloak as a pastor just for a second.
Please go ahead.
If you look at the book of Genesis 2, verse 24, the Bible says, so shall a man leave the father and the mother and cleave to the wife, and the two shall become one. Now, what that text is telling us is that God has intentionally placed the responsibility of the success of the marriage on the husband and the wife. The husband is not coming with the father and the mother into the marriage, according to that scripture. So the only responsibility they have, or the role they have, if you ask me, like he said, is to pray for your child who is in a marriage, number one. Number two, give him or her wise and good counsel. As for the meddling, like you rightly said, I said this from the beginning, we have to be very careful how you allow them to come into your marriage. We don't know it all as children, so obviously we need their counsel. I get it. So that's why I said they have to give you wise counsel, good counsel, and pray for you. But in the marriage, their roles are limited. If you
Their roles must be
very
limited.
limited. Yeah.
But you see, in a situation where, all of us think differently, right? And then so your in-laws think what they are telling you is probably the best to the person. I mean, giving the best advice to their daughters, their sons. But let's focus on the daughters. So the in-laws think that they are giving their daughter the best advice. But you see, you the man, you look at the situation and you think that's not good an advice. How do we get our wives out of these so that, of course, obviously creating the limitation, but you see, when they are listening to them, you may never know. You may sometimes it is. I'm sure it is so difficult to realize that, look, this is not my wife. I think somebody's talking to her.
Yeah.
In some of these situations, how do you curb it? How do you try to work around it to make sure that you are winning her to your side?
Well, most of the times it's difficult because they are a different family, different background, different exposure. You are also from a different family, different background, and a different exposure. So obviously the way they will see things will be different from the way you will see things, even your parents. It's possible that the way both parents will see things are totally different because of their upbringing.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to have an effect on their relationship or the marriage.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to, this is what they have grown and known. You cannot trash it. You cannot, throw it away. Like we are saying, they will think that the advice we are giving to our child is the best advice because of what they are exposed to.
Yeah.
And we cannot really do anything about that. But it is important for you, the husband, and your wife to be one.
Obviously, as said in the Bible.
Yes.
And even I think there's another scripture in the Bible that talks about, like, for example, so the Bible says in Genesis chapter
2 verse 24.
Verse 24 that the man and the woman shall leave their parents and become one. And it goes ahead in some part also to define even the responsibility and the roles of the man and the woman. I think the Bible says it all then. I mean, it tells us exactly how to even move away.
Absolutely.
From the parents. The advice, as I said, will come from the parents, especially the ladies' parents.
Absolutely.
But as Pastor said, you need to know how to manage that advice. It is all about how the two of you are together and the communication going on between you and then your wife.
That's right.
Anytime there is break in communication between the couple, that's when the parents, the in-laws do come in.
That's right.
But if there is a strong bond in terms of communication, then it will be very difficult for even a friend or anybody to come in.
That's right.
Because in that case, if that relationship is there, if that communication is so good, your wife will come and always tell you that, oh, my daddy came and say we should do this, what do you think? But if that relationship is there, when you tell your wife that, oh, I think it's good, but let's look at it from this way.
That's right.
And you have to advise, hold your wife and protect her in such a way that she can have that courage to go back to the parents and tell them that we thank you for this advice, but I think we will look at it from this way. You don't have to go there as the man to the woman's parent to go and flex your muscles.
That's right.
You have to build your wife, give her the confidence, and for her to go there and then deal with the in-laws.
Yeah.
Because in case the woman goes and she makes mistakes, what is good? They can easily forgive her. Are you getting me? The lady goes there, she's so angry. Why did you come and give this advice? The father will talk, the mother will talk, but at the end of the day, they will forgive her because she's
their child.
Their property. Let me put it that way. They are black.
That's right.
So they will obey the day, but at the end of the day,
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's
if your husband says, if you people are saying you don't need my advice, it's okay. But they can easily forgive the lady. By you being the man, no, you can't go there and tell daddy, I don't think we need this advice. You have to build your wife so that you stay, but that's political.
You do
it politically so that you stay back and then you go, even when she wants to go and have a discussion with them, you can drive your wife to the place and then you just say, I want to go and find someone mutu and chop. Deal with your parents so that everything.
Would you say that is one of the ways of dealing with interfering in-laws?
Yes. Absolutely. You should be able to build your wife so that your wife will be confident to go and tell her parents that, please, this one day, I beg you. Hey. My husband doesn't like talking. Because if you are not careful, and then you go there as a young man, and then go and deal with the lady's family, it can create a lot of... And as I said initially, in-laws is one of the factors that if you don't handle it well,
it can
break your marriage.
So you build your wife, and when you do that, your wife will see that really you love her, and then you also don't allow your wife to go and advise your in-laws.
That's right.
So the woman should deal with her in-laws, you to deal with your in-laws, and you are doing it in such a way that at the end of the day, the two of you are together.
Wouldn't it seem like you are trying to put the in-laws away from?
No. You are not putting. You are trying to manage it in such a way that, my brother, in certain tribes in Africa, if an in-law goes to make a mistake in somebody's house, that's the end of the marriage. They will not leave.
We are coming for our daughter.
We are coming for our daughters. So you have to do it in such a way that you do it politically, so that always can now my wife your man advice on phone da o de be hwe Me who said
That's right.
That they were handling.
Meanwhile, it's you. You don't want it, and
That's
you
right.
empowered your wife to go and deal with them.
That's right.
You don't want it. And I'm a man advice, say, a man business way, a man business advice also on pay. You just, oh, down. What can I do? I'm very sorry. And then the back. Meanwhile, you are the one.
Joseph, share with me one scenario that you have experienced with an interfering in-law.
An interfering in-law. One day, let me put it this way. I know that we can't be big kids, right? You know, my.
You know, if it's going to be difficult, let's share.
No.
Because I don't want a situation where he's going to get home and he's wondering whether he's enter the house or
not. My wife, mother is a counselor.
Oh, okay.
One of the best counselors in Ghana, and I'm sure most of you will know her. She's Mrs. Folasaki.
Okay.
One of the best counselors around.
We should find her.
We should find her. One of the best in Ghana. Folasaki.
I hear she's a very, very good. Yes. I mean, she's great. Maybe we should have her in the studio one of these. Maybe she will be the second woman to show up in the men's lounge.
Yes.
You know, we've had one woman already.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see.
One day she called my wife. My phone and say you. Then my wife called me. Joe, my mommy says her phone is not working, so can you go and handle it? Brother, it's hot. What do you do? It was very difficult. I had to go to Kaswa to go and do some job there. But quickly, I have to manage it in such a way that. So at the end of the day, I was able to do it, but it didn't create any problem. Although I had some job to go and do, I handled it in such a way that it didn't create any. So all that I did was, oh, Mama, almost your phone. I called her and then I told her, Mama, almost your phone. I say, okay, Mpacho me call Kaswa, abanti me ba, me babeji, I'm a koyama. She got it.
Political Joseph.
But if like somebody will say, I don't have time.
Yeah.
Some guys will say that straight away.
Yeah.
Go and deal with your mommy's these things.
And that
Go
is
and
not
do
wisdom.
and the
That is
trouble
not,
will
that is
come.
not wisdom.
That's not wisdom. That's why I say that this marriage calls for wisdom. If you don't have, and I'm telling the young guys today that marriage is all about wisdom and it's about patience. If you don't have wisdom, if you don't have patience, and you are not humble, you can be whatever. You can be rich. You can have all the money in this world. You won't go far with
You won't go far with marriage.
You won't go far
That's
because you can't handle people. You are not humble. And anybody who's not humble cannot manage in-laws. So you need to be humble and sometimes some of these guys, I've known guys that they've been able to take over their in-laws' businesses.
Yeah, sure.
Because the man has trusted the guy so much. The guy is humble, he's so respectful. Wherever you send the guy, he'll push everything aside and handle it. Because sometimes, let's take it that my brother, you go and marry from a home, they are very rich, they have businesses, and all the children there are women. And you are the guy that you are going to marry.
Yeah.
So the man sees you as when it's no more there.
You are the potential, caretaker of everything else.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
You go to the family and you know that this family, they are rich. They're on dough. So what do? You can't go there with your arrogance.
No.
You can't go there with your arrogance. You don't know anything. You are not. So it depends. That's when the advice also is comes in. Because sometimes you look at the family that you've entered, you've realized that in the absence of the woman, in the absence of the man, nobody is going to handle those properties. I'm not saying that you are trying to be opportunistic.
Yeah.
But they need somebody who can protect whatever they have around.
I have a scenario. I mean, I know of a family that has only female children, and I think the eldest one is married to a friend of mine. Now the man has given everything to this guy to the extent that he has the financing on anything and everything concerning the two families. It's strange, but the in-law, the man says that look, I'd rather have a younger person taking the decisions and I'll sit back and support than me having to control the assets of this family. In any case, member in Nayamba, So I need him.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I kind of have an idea what you are talking
Exactly.
about. Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. So if you go there and you want to flex your muscles, you are this, then it means that you are not going to take any advice.
That means you are going to run down even what has been left.
That's right.
Yes, and it has happened in
Exactly.
this country a lot.
Oh yeah.
It has happened in this country a lot. So we see that the father has businesses. When the man dies, everything goes down the
Collapses.
drain. Because the guys that they are not humble. So when the job was given to them, they messed everything.
So apart from trying to implore or apply some wisdom in dealing with these interfering in-law issues, what other ways can we take care of these issues with in-laws, apart from the fact that we would have to tackle it with some wisdom and all that? How else do we handle the overindulging in-laws? So we've spoken about probably not cutting them, but creating some limitation, giving them that gap. I'm sure prayer is also needed in there. Some in-laws,
Some of them you have to pray them out.
Huh?
I'm
Pray
telling
them
you.
out.
I was dealing with an issue before. In-laws. Married, they married not long ago, and the girls, the friend is saying, parents think the guy doesn't have money to take care of, so they feel he didn't have what it took to take care of
their daughter.
And so that was the genesis of all the troubles the guy had in the marriage. As far as they are concerned, this guy is not fit to take care of, as it were, their daughter. And they did everything possible to make sure that the marriage does not work.
Wow.
I'm serious with you.
That it doesn't work.
The marriage does not work because the guy cannot take care of our daughter.
But what is their interest? Is it not the guy taking care of, or the one they're taking care to extend to them? Is it part of? Are you
What I'm
marrying
saying is
all
that
of, I don't get it.
they feel that the guy doesn't have what it takes financially to take care of their daughter. And so it looks as though they didn't know that from the onset. And so when they finally found out in their own way, they feel like, no, then this thing cannot happen. Now, that is still, they are still demonstrating their love and care towards their daughter. Just that now it's gone overboard. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
And so it became so serious. There's nothing that this guy would do that these in-laws or these parents will be satisfied. Now, because the guy realizes that this is what is happening, he goes out of his way to do everything just to impress them. But hey, they are not seeing whatever you are doing. To the extent that they went to places because they did everything physical, it was not working. So they went to places to, malams and all kinds of people, just to attack the marriage. They just want the marriage to stop so that they will have their daughter back, because this guy doesn't have what it takes to take care of our daughter. It's as simple as that.
So why wouldn't they just tell them, look, it's okay, the marriage is over? I mean,
It's
I don't
not
get
possible because they are legally married. No matter what you do, you cannot separate the marriage because they are legally married. And the man or the parents, they know that. So now they have to use other means to try and frustrate this marriage. And so they use, it was serious until the guy started praying. Pray so much that what happened, nobody advised them to stop disturbing them. So as I speak to you, there is peace.
There's peace in the house, and
Yes.
there's no interference from the in-laws.
Absolutely. So now, even though the wisdom aspect is there, but even this one, to pray is actually wisdom. You have applied wisdom.
Yeah.
You know that these people, the way they are going, I can't go physical. So let me go on my knees and pray. And today, there's peace.
All right,
As
so
Pastor also said, let
Yeah.
me add this one. It's not only sometimes money, having the physical cash, being wealthy. They can also look at it from tribe.
Tribe, that's right. That's right.
And that can also be another issue altogether. There are certain marriages in Ghana that up to now, the marriage is shaky. Not because the guy hasn't got money, but because they don't
They
like
try.
the tribe.
Well, in our African settings, some issues can be very, very interesting. Divine things that you should pray them out. Pray them out. I mean, obviously, he's giving some scenario like that. We are going to take our very last break, and then when we are back, we'll continue the show. Please stay tuned. Well, so welcome back. Some people are of the argument that, you know, having a very good relationship with your in-laws also, you know, it's a way of having a happier marriage.
Yeah.
But again, the same people are saying that getting too close to them also can be a problem. And I don't know whether Joseph and Pastor will allude to this, but I'm hearing that when you get too close to your in-law, sometimes some folks say, yes, I could live more, and they try to, you know, flex their muscles, you know, against you in a way that because you've been very close.
Sure.
You know, I say when they come, my body I go or Tafriwa knows, they kind of saying that there is this saying that talks about. But is that the case?
Yeah.
And so you shouldn't get too close to them.
Not necessarily. You know, you can get close to them, but you still need wisdom. Like you said, everything about marriage is wisdom.
Hey,
You still need wisdom because if you give people, not even only your in-laws, if you give people too much space into your life, they can become familiar. So familiarity can set in. Yes, they are elderly people, but they can become familiar with you because it's like they have seen you too much. You are always around them, and it's not bad. But if you give them too much, they will want to take too much.
You give them too much, they
They want to take too much. So you have to use wisdom. Be nice with them. I try to build a good relationship with my in-laws. Okay? But in as much as I want to make them feel comfortable around me, I am careful. I don't go there too often. Not because there's an issue or whatever, but I'm just trying to
keep the space.
keep the space. So when I come, we laugh, we have fun and everything, but you see the space, you see that is how they will respect you. When they get into you too much, they will disrespect you.
I'd want you to both give your final thoughts on what I'm going to ask you right now, and then we can round up. And so, you know, living with in-laws, especially after childbirth, okay, is seen as, I mean, prone to most of the problems. But again, a lot of people also think it's the best, you know, to have your in-law live with you, and especially when there's that time that your wife has given birth and all that. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's rather best your wife goes there? What are your thoughts?
To me, I will advise that your wife goes to stay with the mother for a short period of time. We know that within a month, the woman will be able to be, if there's any medical complications, we hope that within 4 weeks, the woman should be able to stand and do whatever she wants to do. So I will advise that one, that the woman goes to there, but there should be a regular visit.
That's the man visiting
The man
regularly.
going there, and then when you go, you try to be nice, you try to manage it. That's going to be your second home. The only time that she's not going to see you, maybe late in the evening, maybe you can stay there up to 10 p.m., 11 p.m., then you drive home. So that is what I will say on this issue, that let the woman go and stay there maximum 1 month, 3 weeks, and you monitor the situation. When you go there, it's also going to build the relationship again. That they gave you their daughter. You when she got pregnant and she delivered, you brought her back, at least to stay with them, and they'll feel more comfortable with you. But allowing the mother or the father to come and stay with you can be a whole different ball game altogether. Because that's when maybe you will not have that courage to tell your wife, or even if you've told your wife that, tell your mother to go. Because you being the man, as I said, you have to be political. You can't go and tell the lady's mother that, please pack your things and leave. So you have to be very, very careful. But I would advise that even if it is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you let her go and stay with the mother. But there should be a constant visit. Because we are in the 21st century. For all you know, your job will take you outside.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is good to,
build that relationship. You have to
That's-
look at it from two different angles. And I don't believe in your wife is she's just delivered, and you go and bring people to come and stay there. You have maid servant, you have this, I don't believe in that.
You'd rather keep up with the family.
Family, go there, help. If there's anything, they'll say that, so is that how Kofi or Kwame is handling you at home? When you've delivered, every time she's here, she brings this, she brings that, okay. Then you play it politically, so that you stay cool. And maybe after 4 weeks, you can go.
Oh, political, Joseph. Right.
So, well, if you ask me, I think that I'll be more objective, for want of a better word. I think that it depends on the understanding between the husband
My
and
question
the
was
wife.
direct. I said, which one?
Which one?
What's
will
your thoughts? I want to know which one will be your preferred thought.
Well, for me, anytime my wife gives birth, she goes to the parents. That is what we have decided.
You don't have a chance to explain any further. On this note, we're going to draw the curtains to an end, and I just want to take advantage of this to say a very big welcome to 2020. Today is 2nd January 2020. A few people did not follow us to 2020 media, so rest in peace. But those of you who have been part of their living, be thankful to God, be thankful the year, be thankful and expect that all your wishes and all your thoughts shall come to pass, and you shall end the year with a successful, beautiful flying color. We'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you for being part of the Men's Lounge this evening.